understand you to mean, would I understand your answer then to mean that you had explained all his rights to legal representation, you gave him options and choices, he understood them, and he decided to waive his right to legal representation and said, no, I don't want a private attorney, I don't have an attorney on my own, I don't want an attorney or a legal representative that I can be assisted with by the state. I am prepared to continue speaking for myself or on behalf of myself as I am engaging with you. Do I understand you to mean that?
You understand me correctly, my lord. You waive his rights, my lord.
Ngikuzwa kahle yini ke ukuthi ke usukhulumile ke naye umchazele futhi ngawo onke amalungelo kakhulukazi ke elommeli ngoba ummeli oyimele ummeli obuya kumbuso nala usuqhubekekile wathi cha ngifuna uyikhulumele yebo ungizwa kahle.
Thank you, Brigadier. Now you would agree with me, South Africa is a constitutional democracy country that is founded on the ethos of the Constitution. In other words, is the Constitution up there and there are these little legislations which should be tied up with the Constitution, not so?
Yes, I totally agree, my lord.
Uyavumelana nami ukuthi ke eNingizimu Afrika ifaka noma ke kunomthetho sisekelo bese kuthi ke kuneminye ke imithetho engaphansi ke kodwa ke ongaphezulu umthetho sisekelo lokho ngiyavumelana naso.
Below those legislations, there are directives, there are ordinances, there are policies, etc., 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 but which must also comply with the spirit of the Constitution, not so?
Yes, yes, my lord, that is correct.
Kukhona konke ke lokho ama-directives, ama-policy kodwa ke okungaphezulu okulawula konke ke lokho umthetho sisekelo. Lokho ngiyavuma yebo.
Thank you, my lord. Thank you, Brigadier. Do you understand, Brigadier, that a brigadier is a person who holds who's a commissioned officer and also holds the rank of being a peace officer?
I do understand, my lord.
Ingaba uyabuzwa noma uyakulandela ukuthi masikhuluma ngebrigadier sikhuluma ke ngomuntu ke okuyi office eliphakeme kakhulu ke khona ke ngaphakathi esiphoyiseni lokho ngiyavuma.
And the peace officer is somebody that is equivalent to
Is equivalent to a commission officer in the sense of being justice of the peace. That's my understanding, my lord.
Mina ke engikulandelayo ukuthi ke uma kukhulunywa ke nge-peace officer umuntu ke osungambeka ke kwizinga ke layo ke imantshi noma ke phecelezi ke okuthiwa i-justice of the peace.
I wanted to say justice of the peace, not a peace officer, but the justice of the peace is at the more elevated level.
Yes, I do agree with that decision, my lord.
Lokho ngiyavuma ke uma usho ke ngoba ke kuyisikhundla ke soda ke ngasho ukuthi ke i-justice of the peace umuntu ke osungalinganisayo nayo imantshi.
Thank you. Now I am going to request to refer to Exhibit XX.
What?
Exhibit XX. That's the thing, you know, for so many documents, and they get to be so voluminous, it just gets to be very tedious and heavy for us to carry them every day here to court. But Exhibit XX, Exhibit XX, my lord.
What is that?
Yes, XX is that document that states an interview with regard to a suspect. An interview regarding an interview with a suspect. Mr. Ramusipili is trying to correct me, but it's a statement regarding interview with a suspect. That is Exhibit XX. We might not necessarily go to Exhibit XX if there's a document that is similar to Exhibit XX, which is a statement regarding interview with a suspect. I think it will also suffice. I'm not so sure if my colleagues have got any, just to speed up the process. I would be utilizing mine, but I'm going to need it as we engage in this process.
do have a similar document. I suppose it's a warning statement. That's what you're referring to. In the front page says statement regarding interview with suspect.
Yes.
Yes, I have one, my lord.
Or it is affectionately known as a warning statement.
Yes, if you are referring to the same document. Yes.
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 In front it has got that South African Police Service insignia.
Correct. That's the one. I think we have the
Yes.
same document.
And do you have any knowledge who designed this insignia?
I beg your pardon?
Do you have any knowledge who designed this insignia?
No.
You don't know?
No, I don't.
I do.
Is it?
I know who designed it.
Okay, I think we'll have a lecture with it one day. We'll talk
Thank you.
about it. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm waiting for my colleagues, my lord, to be to follow as we go along in respect of this exhibit. I see Mr. Baloy is still trying to page through. I'm not so sure whether we can proceed as is paging through or need to give an indulgence to get this document.
So, what are we waiting for?
Oh, no, it's fine. I was just trying to...
Colleagues, I'm sure they know that document. Mr. Normal, you don't know that document? I do. Mr. Ramsey, yes. So everybody knows that document?
Yes, it was sent out by Advocate Shalolo.
Yeah, it talks about in the presence of a police officer, station commander, blah, 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 blah.
Yes, and then the role of the prosecutors.
That's it, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, Brigadier,
Yes, my lord.
we've got a face of the document. Yeah, unfortunately, the one that I have is not numbered. On the first page, it only starts to be numbered somewhere on page number 3. But nonetheless, I think that would not be a train smash. Now, when you open that document, the very first paragraph there
Yes.
says South African Police Service instructions statement regarding interview with a suspect. Do you see that?
I do see it, my lord.
And then paragraph number 1, it says completion of this statement. Do you see that?
Completion of statement.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I say, my lord. Correct.
Yes. Now, what does paragraph A read? What does it say? Do you mind to read it into record?
No, I don't mind, my lord. It reads as
Please.
followed. The station commander must consult with the prosecutor on circumstances in which the prosecutor requires that a warning statement of a suspect be obtained. Second sentence, in every such case, the suspect must be interviewed and his statement must be completed. This statement must be completed every time the suspect is interviewed, irrespective of whether the suspect has been arrested or not.
Thank you.
Statement namake ufundeka ngale ndlela ke la istatement malana ke ne-interview kanye naye ke umsolwa i-station commander kufanele sihlangane noma sikhulumisane naye ke umshushisi ngakwezimo ke la khona umshushisi efisa noma ke efisa ukuthi ke kube warning statement phecelezi ke istatement sokuxwayiswa sakhe umsolwa ekufanele sitholakale ngaphansi noma ke ukona konke umsolwa uma ngabe kuwukuthi ke uya interview noma kukhulunyiswana naye fanele lesi statement lesi sibhalwe lesi statement lesi fanele sibhalwe ngaso sonke isikhathi une interview nomsolwa noma kuwukuthi umsolwa uboshiwe noma cha.
Thank you. Now, when you page over, there's also an insignia there. Letters written South African Police Service. Again, a statement regarding interview with the suspect that are written in both letters. Do you see that?
I do see it, my lord.
Thank you. And below that, there is that paragraph that consists of 3 sentences. Do you mind to read that into record?
I don't mind, my lord. It reads as follows. The form must be completed every time a suspect is questioned, irrespective of whether the suspect is in detention after an arrest or not, where any space provided on the form is sufficient. Continue on a folio and attach the folio to that page. Folios must be signed by the suspect, interpreter, deponent, and commissioner of oath.
Kufuneka ngale ndlela ke le form lena kufanele ibhalweke noma igcwaliseke ngaso sonke isikhathi umsolwa ke ehlonywa imibuzo noma ukuthi ke uvalele noma ke ugciniwe ke noma kusemuva kokuthi ke eboshiwe lapho na ke unganeleke noma kungena space esaneleke kufanele kutholakale lokho kubizwa ngokuthi ke ifolio bese yona ke iyananyathiselwa ke kulona leli page leli kanye futhi ke lawo mafolio le kufanele assignedwe ke umsolwa utolika kanye futhi ke naloyo ekuyena obhalayo noma ke lowo ofungisayo.
Thank you, sir. Now, this statement must be completed every time the suspect is interviewed, irrespective of whether the suspect has been arrested or not. It's not me who says this, it is this document. Do you follow?
I follow, but...
Thank you.
No, but I'm not done, my lord, in answering. I follow, the first part I follow, but you cannot ignore subsection A of point number 1, which says, very specific, my lord, the station commander must consult with the prosecutor on circumstances in which the prosecutor requires that a warning statement of a suspect obtained. Now, a warning statement, my lord, can either be obtained when a person is arrested, or a directive can come from the prosecutor to say, before we make a decision, go and obtain the warning statement. So this directive is very clear. So you cannot ignore section A, which says there must be consultation. It's a different view when police are conducting their own investigation, stopping a person, giving the person his right, and then things follows. There's no time to consult with the prosecutor, so this does not apply.
Ngiyakuzwa ukuthi yebo lokufundayo ukuthi ke le form ithi ngaso sonke isikhathi kunenhlolo khona ke naye ke umsolo kufanele ke le form igcwaliseke kodwa ke akwazi ke ukuthi ukushaya indiva ke lokhu okubhaliwe ke la ukuthi u-station commander kufanele akhulumisane noma consult kanye naye ke umshushisi kwizimo ke la khona ke umshushisi afisa ukuthi ke kube ne warning statement ethathwa kuyena ke umsolo kodwa ke lokho ke akufanike na ukuthi uma amaphoyisa ezenzela olwabo uphenyo bahlangana nomuntu esitradini base beyamisa ke lapho khona ke akuhlangani ke lokho noma ke akusiyona into yodwa nale ebhalwe la.
So you basically saying, let me put it this way, what you have just said now, it's an exception to what the law says.
No, that's not what I'm saying, my lord. I'm saying, let's look at this form because I'm directed to what this form says in terms of the instructions. The form, the first paragraph, indicates clearly that there is a communication between the prosecutor and the police. Then the prosecutor gives instruction to the police to say, go and obtain your warning statement. The prosecutor, the only way the prosecutor can get a communication of what that person has said, indeed it must be documented in terms of a warning statement. It's a different story in my situation, my lord, when I was interacting with accused number 2. There was no directive from Advocate Baloy or any of the advocates to say, go and get a warning statement. So I'm saying this does not apply in circumstances like that, my lord.
Engikushoyo ukuthi ke lana ke kubhaliwe ke kuyasho ukuthi uma kukuthi amaphoyisa ke akhulumisana ke nabashushisi ke umshushisi uthambani niyothola i-warning statement kulo yamsola loyana kodwa lana ke kuhlukile ke uma mina ngikhulumisana naye ke umsola ukuthi kwakungekho izwi ke noma ke elalibuya kuyena ke u-advocate balo ethi hambani noma hamba uyothola ke i-warning statement umsola noma ke accused number 2.
Sorry for my understanding. Not that I don't know what you're talking about. What is that document?
It's what we will term...
No. What is it? You told me about... Has it got a heading?
Yes.
What is the heading?
Statement regarding interview with suspects. It's a warning statement, my lord. That's the term we use.
Lana ke khulunywa ngayo ke noma ngase statement so kwexwayiso noma ke phecelezi ke i-warning statement kubhaliwe ke ukuthi statement mayelana ke nenhlolo khona kanye naye umsolo.
Thank you. Now, may you please reread the second paragraph that I referred to you, that is on the following page.
The second paragraph, the one that starts by saying the form must be completed every time a suspect is questioned, irrespective of whether the suspect is in detention after an arrest or not. Where any space provided on the form is insufficient, continue on a folio and attach that folio to that page. Folios must be signed by the suspect, interpreter, deponent, and commissioner of courts.
Thank you.
Ifundeka ngale ndlela ke ile sentence befundiwe ngaphambili ukuthi ke iform lena kufanele ke igcwaliswe ke noma ke ibhalwe ke ngaso sonke isikhathi umsolwa ebuzwa noma kuukuthi ke umsolwa lowo ugciniwe ke esitokisini emuva kokuthi aboshiwe noma ke uma kuukuthi ke isikhala ke noma ke ispace asanele kuyona ke iform lena ufanele uqhubekeke kuloko kubizwa ngokuthi ke ifolio bese iyanqanyathiselwa ke kulona leli page leli bese iyasayindwa ke uyena umsolwa utolika kanye futhi ke loyo oyibhalayo kanye ke futhi naloyo ekuyena ofundisayo.
Thank you. This form must be completed every time a suspect is questioned, irrespective of whether the suspect is in detention after an arrest or not.
That is correct, my lord.
Thank you.
No, yes, that's correct, my lord. But I need to explain. I need to qualify this. This portion that Advocate MNISI is making me read, it's actually page number 3, starting from the beginning. The first paragraph, the written sentence or instruction, states clearly that there must be a directive between the prosecutor and the police. Then what is reading, it's a further instruction that goes down. In other words, my lord, you can't read this in isolation because I seem to be getting an impression as if this is a standalone instruction that I was made to read now. It's not. First, there is a directive coming from the NPA to the police. We are then being told what you must do. So you can't ignore the part that in my situation, there was no directive by the prosecutor to say, go and obtain a warning statement. There was no such. It was simply a police investigation. And my lord, I can also say this happens all the time. Police officers arrive at the scene of a robbery or murder, interviews people, give chase to suspect and arrest them. There's no form that they'll sit down and say, let us write now what is being said. These forms, you normally find them at the detention cells when a person is being prepared for appearances in court, or in instances when it is clear that directive will be taken and the prosecutor says, go and obtain a warning statement before we make a decision so that we can hear what the person says. It's a different situation when it came to what I did with accused number 2, my lord.
Lana ke engikufundiswayo noma lokho ke ekuthiwa angikufundeke kuyaqhubekeka ke page 3 uma uqala ke phezulu ke la ekushoyo ke khona ke eqaleni ukuthi kufanele kube nokukhulumisana phakathi kwamaphoyisa kanye futhi ke naye umshushisi, kodwa lana ke ayisikona ke lokho okwenzeka futhi ke into eyenzeka njalo ke ukuthi amaphoyisa afike ke kwindawo zesigameko la khona ke mhlambe kubanjwe inkunzi kunomuntu obulewe khona ke basukele futhi ke abasolwa ke asikho noma ke awekho ke amaphepha noma ke ama documents lapho ekufanele abhalwe khona ke lokho kutholakala ke ema-police station. Uma kufika la khona ke abasolwa bagcina khona ke kwakungekho okwakuya kuyena ke u-advocate Baloyi lana ke okwakuthi mina ke angihambi ngiyothatha i-warning statement kuyena umsolwa.
So the essence of what I'm saying, my lord, we cannot read this form in isolation of the instruction that is very clear, which is the first sentence, that instruction is coming from the NPA and the interaction is to the police to go and obtain a warning statement. And that is where it says, even if it's 2, 3, 10 times, 20 times, in those instances, you must have it recorded. Whether the person is arrested or he's not arrested, as long as there's that directive, then you must complete this form. In my situation, my lord, again, without repeating myself, there was no such directive.
Lana ke noma ke kungenzeka lokho amahlandla awu-20 amahlandla awu-10 uma kuwukuthi kubuya kuyena ke umshushisi kufanele lokho kwenzekeke, kodwa ke mina ke noma kolwami ke uhlangothi kwakungekho lokho noma kwangekho lapho na ke umshushisi athe hamba uyothola lokho.
Thank you, Brigadier. Brigadier, do you agree that this document was designed for the police, to be used by the police, and not for the National Prosecuting Authority of South Africa.
It was designed as a guideline, my lord. There is no, I think we dealt with this part during the trial within trial. There are many warning statement forms, my lord, and not necessarily like this. Others don't even have what is contained here. It's simply a guideline. But on this specific one, my lord, I'm dealing with it as it's been put to me, because the form itself, it's not me. I'm being directed to this form to comment on what it says. And I'm saying the first sentence of these forms clearly indicates that there must be a communication between the prosecution and the police. Then the steps then must be followed as per this form. So you can't ignore the part of the prosecution and the police because the form was not designed by the police. That's what the form says. That's what I'm being directed to comment on, my lord.
Yebo-ke iform lena-ke action ayodwa-ke maningi-ke futhi-ke amanye-ke kuzohluka-ke indlela ekubhalwe ngayo-ke, kodwa-ke awukwazi ukuthi-ke uyizibeke noma kuyishaya indiva-ke le ndawo ebhaliwe-ke ukuthi kufanele kube khona-ke ukukhulumisana khona phakathi kwamaphoyisa kanye futhi nalabo abashushisayo.
Because you have just read the second paragraph, which is just an emphasis of what is supposed to be done when a police officer engages a suspect. And it says, this form must be completed every time the suspect is questioned, irrespective of whether the suspect is in detention after an arrest or not.
Yes, but my lord,
This is...
Sorry, Mr. MNISI. I thought you were done. My apologies.
This is law. Unless you're creating your own little law in your own little corner there. But this is South African law, as it is contained in this form.
Yes, sir.
The state doesn't want to interfere with Adv MNISI's cross-examination, but the witnesses said ad nauseam that the operative part is that first sentence that says there must be a consultation between the station commissioner and the prosecutor. Whatever follows must be read subject to that operative part.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, Mr. MNISI.
Excuse me, my lord.
No, you can continue.
Brigadier,
Yes, my lord.
would you agree with me? Now we are going to do a standard 3 analysis. Would you agree with me that there are cases where the intervention of a prosecutor would not be necessary? For instance, in a case where, actually, let me not get there. Would you agree with me that there are cases where the intervention of a prosecutor would not be necessary and the police must just investigate that case from beginning to the end on its own and table it before a prosecutor? Such cases do exist, not so?
So,
Yes.
during the investigation process, I suppose, is that what you mean? During the
Yes.
investigation process?
Yes.
Yes. But under
Thank
the
you.
guidance of obviously the supervisor who will guide the relevant member, but the ultimate decision maker is the NPA, my lord. So that docket at one time or another will sit at the office of the NPA, and they may be of the view that look, we are not happy with what we have. Go and do 1, 2, 3 further, which has happened on this matter. We spoke about it, my lord. So the ultimate arbiter in these proceedings is actually the NPA. Whether you involve them at the beginning or you decide not to involve them, but at the end of the day, you will never get to court without sitting down with the NPA, my lord.
Uzovumelana-ke nami ukuthi-ke khona-ke izehlakalo-ke la khona-ke amaphoyisa edingeka nje ukuthi-ke azenzele wona-ke uphenyo engadingekile ukuthi-ke bathole izwi-ke noma-ke umlomo obuya kwi-NPA noma-ke phecelezi-ke abashushisi. Yebo, lokho kungenzeka-ke noma-ke kuyenzeka-ke amaphoyisa aphenye, kodwa ekugcineni-ke idokodo lelo lizothathwa lihambe-ke li-NPA noma kubona-ke abashushisi, ibona-ke abazothatha isinqumo, ibona abazosho ukuthi cha asenemeke ilokhu enikwenzile noma umsebenzi eniwenzile, noma ungazenzela ningabafaki noma nibafaki, kodwa ekugcineni lizogcina-ke ukubona.
That is what is called instructions that a prosecutor will give for further investigations, not so?
That is correct, my lord.
Ilokho-ke kuzobuya kubona-ke abashushusi bathi-ke qhubeka-ke nophenyo, yebo kuyiqiniso.
Thank you. That will be an instance where the police have started with the investigation, they've made the arrest, they've brought the accused before court. He has already appeared at court. The prosecutor enrolls the case at court. He goes through it and realizes that we still need to get this and this and this and this and this information as part of further investigation. Do you follow?
I follow, but it's not the only instances, my lord. Even if the matter is not enrolled.
I'm talking about that instance. I'm talking about that instance, not yours. I'm talking about that instance.
Yeah,
let's concentrate on that instance, Mr. Gininda.
Okay, which instance then? Let me understand.
The one that I've just sketched out now. The police receives a complaint. It goes out, investigates the complaint. He found that there are merits in the complaint which warrant the arrest of the perpetrator. He goes on and arrests the perpetrator. He brings him before court, and then he takes the docket to the prosecutor. The prosecutor enrolls the matter. The suspect appears at court. After appearance, prosecutor postpones the case. After postponing the case, the prosecutor takes the docket into his office, sits down and gives the investigating officer instructions. That is the situation that I'm talking about. Let's concentrate on that one.
Well, yes, in that example that you're giving me, yes.
Yes.
That's how the prosecutor will give instructions.
Yes.
Uma ukhuluma noma ke unikeza leso sibonelo ukuthi ke iphoyisa liyaphenya liyahamba lokupha umsolwa ke icala ke lenkantolo liyahlehiswa ke bese umshoshisi ke manje uyahlala nedokodo uthi ke lobo ophenyayo akaqhubekeke ngophenyo yebo kwenzeka ke noma lokho kuyenzeka kuleso osibonelo umnikeza sona.
Thank you. In that particular instance, don't you use this document, Exhibit XX,
No,
when you have an interview with the suspect?
my lord. So,
Yes.
and I want to move with the example that has been given.
I am asking a simple question. In that instance, don't you use a document which is called a statement regarding an interview with the suspect, this document? Don't you use it?
My lord, I can hear Mr. MNISI very loud and clear without raising his voice. It's just mind it because
I'm not raising my voice. This is how I speak.
it sounds like that to me because I'm going to answer you.
Okay.
I was given a broad example of how this particular example started. From the time of the arrest to the time it's taken to the prosecution, a person appears and instructions then are given by the prosecutor. I cannot now be expected to answer only one portion. I want to answer it broadly. So, because I feel now I've been confined to only focus on one thing. I was given a broader picture and I want to deal with that broader picture in terms of the answer, my lord.
Okay,
and
you can explain, Mr. Gininda. You can explain.
It's not an explanation, it's an answer, my lord. The question
Answer.
has been put to me.
Yes.
Now, my lord, in that example that I was given, when the person appears, before the person appears, a warning form statement would have been completed. You cannot appear before the warning statement is taken. So that will be the first step in preparation, in processing that person to appear before court. So that warning statement, I want to deal with it because the question relates to the warning statement. The first part would have been completed. Secondly, the person then the docket gets taken out to the prosecution. This is the example that I was given. The prosecution, based on the evidence and explanation given to it, contained on the docket, the NPA will make a decision then to enroll the matter. In that instance, my lord, if there are outstanding investigation, as Adv MNISI is saying, then further instructions will be given to the IO to follow. I'm not sure whether the question is to say the further instruction is that further warning statement must be taken because at that stage, a warning statement is already taken. You cannot appear before the warning statement is taken. So if the assertion is that after the person has appeared, there is further instructions to take a further warning statement, it's an unusual practice, me as a policeman, that I've heard. It's a different story when the person has not appeared. So that's how I can answer it, my lord.
Uma ngingaphendula-ke lo mbuzo ukuthi-ke manje-ke umuntu esebingeleleke imanje umshushisi-ke manje ukuthi-ke kulowo ophenya icala akaqhubekeke nophenyo ukuthi manje ayisagcwaliswa-ke yini noma le statement lesi. I-statement lesi nanjengoba kubizwa ukuthi i-warning statement angeke umuntu ayobingelela imanje kanti i-warning statement ayikathathwa. Into-ke leyo engajwayelekile uma kuwukuthi-ke manje ushiwo kumina ngaleyo ndlela ukuthi umuntu eseyibingelele imanje sekufanele manje uyothathwa i-warning statement ngoba lokho kwenzeka ekuqaleni ngaphambi kokuthi umuntu ayovela enkantolo.
Thank you, Brigadier. I know you heard me well. I think it's just that this question is rattling you. You are saying, even before the person would go to greet the magistrate, a warning statement would have been taken from him, not so?
I'm saying according to the example given to me by Advocate MNISI, in that example that he gave me, because he said I must focus on that example. That's the instruction I got from him. He said, don't go anywhere, focus on what I'm telling you. The example he gave me, my lord, the person gets arrested. After the arrest, he is in process and taken to court and the matter is enrolled. I'm saying in that particular example, there must be a warning statement taken before the appearance. I'm referring to the specific example that was given to me, my lord.
Mina-ke khuluma ngesibonelo lesi esinikezwe kumina-ke ukuthi ngaphambili kokuthi-ke umuntu ayovela-ke enkantolo noma-ke ayobingelela-ke imanje i-warning statement ithathwa ngaphambilini kokuthi kwenzeke-ke lokho.
Thank you. That warning statement that must be taken before it goes and greets the magistrate. Are you not using this document?
No, my lord. As I've said, there are no prescribed forms in the warning statement. I've dealt with this, my lord. There is no one specific forms in the police that says it's a warning statement. There are different ones. The important thing for practicality, my lord, it could also be this one or a different one. The fact of the matter is that there will be a warning statement completed before a person appears, whether it's this one or a different one, but not necessarily that it will be this specific one, because it depends as to whether that station or that detective has possession of this specific one, because others they've got a different one, my lord. The essence of it, there will be a warning statement completed prior to the appearances.
Akukho-ke emaphoyiseni-ke ukuthi-ke kufanele kubeke i-form thizeni ekuyiyona-ke ebhalayo noma-ke egcwaliswayo. Ungathola ukuthi esinye isiteshi asinayo lena mina-ke enginayo noma leyo detective unenye-ke i-form, kodwa-ke kusemqoka-ke ukuthi nje kufanele ukuthi-ke i-warning statement ibe khona-ke ngaphambili kokuthi umuntu-ke ayovela-ke kuyona inkantolo. Akunamthetho othi kufanele kube i-form ethize.
Thank you, Brigadier. I've just been alerted that it's time for a short attendance. But before we adjourn, I can promise you that you are going to explore this fact further. If it will be necessary, I'm going to request that it's called in terms of Section 186 of the Criminal Procedure Act. I'm going to request this court to call for us General Fani Masimona to come and explain what you've just told us. Alternatively, the national spokesperson of the South African Police Services, Adv Martin. Alternatively, any person from the legal services of the South African Police Services.
Yeah, before you call General Masimula.
I said I'm going to request the court, my lord.
In this case, was there a warning statement taken of all the accused before this court?
Yes, my lord. Accused 1 up to 5.
Even accused number 2?
Even accused number 2.
Okay.
There was a warning statement taken.
It's similar to that?
Yes, it's similar to this, my lord. It was taken later.
Okay.
Family, I just want to show just a little bit of what Gininda is doing here. Eluding from questions, avoiding to answer simple question, and he's slipping away with the questions instead of answering. The escape that he is doing there is really, really ridiculous for a brigadier who has been a senior officer who has been investigating this case of Senzo Meyiwa. Instead of giving clear answers to what Advocate MNISI is asking, he's asking a simple question directed to the form that they have to fill when they arrest whoever that suspect is. They have to go through that form. But instead of him answering the questions from Advocate MNISI, he's shunning away from those questions, escaping. I don't understand why he's escaping. Because what Gininda does here, he is trying to read MNISI's mind. That's why when he answers a question, he then elaborate, just to try and cover certain portion, thinking that he will stop Advocate MNISI from continuing asking whatever question he is asking. He's got a strategy that he is using. And this strategy that he's using, it's not working to MNISI. Maybe he tried it with Ramsipili, but it is not working with Advocate MNISI. Because MNISI keep on emphasizing, going back to the same point, because he wants straight answers. The form was designed for the police. This is a brigadier who is well versed with the information, how suspects, when they are arrested, what are the first things to do. He's not a new officer, a constable. He is not a constable. He understands what MNISI is asking. But what he's doing, he's just eluding away from the questions, avoiding, I don't understand the tricks that he is using. They are making me understand that Gininda never investigated this case. He just got people and just put them behind bars. Then he started drafting those confessions and doing everything then. Because for a simple brigadier, it will be easy when he's being asked by an advocate. What is this form something that is supposed to be used when one is arrested to explain his rights and everything, then you fill up the form? Instead, he's invading us, avoiding, slipping away, escaping, shunning from those questions. I don't know how long he will do this, because MNISI promised that he is going to be too long standing there questioning Gininda. He might invade this question and try to run away from, slip away from them, but I don't think it will work. And what has surprised me is the judge. When MNISI is asking questions, the judge looks like he is not comfortable, because he doesn't like to see Brigadier cornered. He wants to see Brigadier every time free, answering questions like everything is going smooth. But once Brigadier is cornered, then the judge rises up and start bringing Tavin in the court. You know why he is doing this. We don't know exactly what happened with those people. Instead of the judge sitting out there, listening to both sides, how they answer the question, taking his notes, so that he can make an informed decision when he writes his judgment. But no, he's only looking on the side of the defense, of the prosecutor and the witness. That these people should always be correct. The only people who are supposed to be looked down upon is the defense and the accused, because to him, they committed the crime. It's not like he is there to understand and analyze exactly what really happened as they give the evidence, and him taking the notes as a judge. But his bias, he can't even hold back. I wish someone can just one day tell this judge right in his face, because we are telling him, because we know that he watches through YouTube, he watches all the channel over YouTube, because he wants to understand. Because at some point, when he does these funky things in court, he realized that, oh, I have messed up. I don't know whether the camera caught me doing this. But he keep messing up. He quickly forget. And I heard him when he was talking about MNISI and Baloyi talking to each other. Like, one was talking and the other one overtalked the other one, so he didn't feel comfortable. But that is the platform that he has created as a judge. He does that, or talking over somebody all the time. He doesn't stop. He never stopped doing that. And more especially, once he is caught up on the wrong side, if someone from the defense persists in confronting him, he turns wild. He easily forget all those kind of things. But one thing I know, the fight that we have embarked on, it is giving him hit. He's not getting any rest. And those who have assigned them not to follow justice in the Mesiwa case, it will end in tears. Because I don't know why the judge wants to ruin his reputation, the little reputation that he had, but he just wants to ruin it. Baloyi doesn't care whether he ruins his reputation. He's been a crook forever. It's not something new. But for somebody who's old like Rata, he should consider that this thing will stay on internet forever. And his grandchildren will still watch this and say, what kind of a grandpa we had? That should click in his head. That he should try to do the right thing. I understand Gininda lied last Tuesday that he was going to write exams, when we know that he was going to court because he has been arrested. I understand he has been arrested for stealing money, about 58,000, if I say it correctly. It's all over in the social media to show that we are dealing with a monster called Brigadier Gininda. Everything that he does, it doesn't show how he got that position where he is now. How did he climb the ladder when there was a case that disappeared and it has surfaced now? Did I say 2015? 15 years ago case, not 2015. 15 years ago, the case has surfaced. What do you think about Gininda? Do you think he is invading this question because he is hiding something? He's trying to slip away? He's trying to read the mind of MNISI, Adv MNISI, instead of answering, because now what he's doing is on the defense side. He's not in the side of showing the court why he arrested these people. But now he is defending himself instead of showing the court beyond reasonable doubt that these people are the people who deleted Senzo Meyiwa. But he is failing to do that. The strategy of the defense, it put a lot of smile in my face, the way they put up their strategy to deal with Brigadier Gininda, because they understand he's so tricky. Family, what do you think about this? Drop your comment respectfully. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I would like to take my head off to all the YouTubers who are into this case, showing all these discrepancies that are going on in this Senzo Meyiwa case. Bravo, bravo to each and every YouTuber who has embarked on finding justice for Senzo Meyiwa. I salute you. I know Senzo Meyiwa is not sleeping, waiting for the right culprits to be brought to book. Then it's when he is going to rest, and it's when his family will get closure as to how he was deleted. Niyantanda nonke, ngothando lukaLove. Nithi kini bantu bakithi, bravo, bravo, bravo.